I get it. I know what y'all thinking. Hey Smack, you were supposed to make horror videos. The fuck is this KSI versus Logan Paul shit? Well, in my defense, I got a really good argument to make this video. Just watch the press conference between KSI and Logan Paul. Trust me, you have never witnessed such a true horrific nightmarish horror experience ever. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, don't. It's cringe fest. Nonetheless, I'm not interested in the press conference or the fight itself that much. No, you see, I'm interested in the build-up, the hype, the news in mainstream media, and the effect of all of this on Eddie, DAZN, mainstream media, boxing as a sport, and most specifically, YouTube in general. So you know what? Without wasting any more time, let's begin the season's premiere, the first episode of Smack Explains. What is up, Smack Empire? SmackNPie here, and welcome to season's premiere of Smack Explains, a show where I dive deep into anything even remotely related to horror, video games, and YouTube in general. And I wanted to make this video something special because it is the first episode of this season. Hence, I'm talking about the biggest event in YouTube history this year, of course. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's KSI versus Logan Paul 2. Not only one, but two. I mean, what else do you need? Billy Joe, the WBO Super Middleweight Champion, is defending his title on the undercard of KSI vs. Logan. A literal champion, think about it. A literal champion, professional champion, is fighting on the undercard of two YouTubers. That's how crazy it is. In all seriousness, unlike last time, these two are going professional. There's a lot of controversies around it, and rightly so. But then there's Jake Paul. What the fuck? I have no idea how he entered himself into this conversation. Dude is a master at this point, honest. I want to split this episode into two halves. Number one, where we'll talk about why or is KSI vs. Logan Paul 2 good for anyone involved and how. And secondly, we will discuss something very special that involves all of you Jake Paulers out there. So sit tight and grab some ice cream. I tried, or snacks, or whatever you like it. I know it's cringe. Hey, at least it wasn't as cringe as KSI vs. Logan Paul conference. I'm sorry, I'll just leave, thank you. The fact of the matter is, whether you like him or hate him, these two YouTubers are making some of the most incredible changes. Well, it depends on whether you call it positive or negative, but also they're changing the game in the mainstream media as well. In the beginning, I mentioned how a literal champion, a literal boxing professional champion, is defending his title on the undercard of two amateurs YouTubers. What the fuck? Like, where's the comparison between these two? Where? And this is exactly where the numbers comes into play. You see, the real shocker in boxing community was Eddie's involvement in all of this. Now, it's fine if you don't know who the fuck is Eddie. You don't have to know about him. All you need to know, he's the business main guy here. Wherever he goes, he attracts people around him in the boxing world. He's like Dana White of boxing, or Vince McMahon from WWE of boxing. Pretty sure you heard any of those, and if you don't, that's fine. You don't need to know. Let's keep going. His involvement in anything makes that thing a lot serious, and that's where the controversy began. A lot of people felt disrespected by this, regardless of how successful last event was, regardless of how many numbers they pulled in, regardless of how much money everyone made. Fans or casual fans of boxing sports felt that this was pure mockery, and this is, the new event, is pure mockery of their beloved sports, and rightly so. Two YouTubers who have zero experience in professional boxing selling out arena record pay-per-view buys. This is a heaven, a literal heaven, a dream come true for any business organizer in any community, let alone boxing sports. Hence, Eddie's involvement in all of this sparked a controversy. He is a businessman who sees opportunity and grabs it. Wherever he sees the opportunity to make money, sell out arenas, get as many pay-per-view buys, he would involve in that firsthand, no questions asked. Of course, he knew that the controversy will be there, not just by the casual fans of boxing, but from the mainstream media as well. And this is where the second chapter begins, or most specifically the question of, well, if it has controversies, does it bring any good to any party involved in this? Well, let's take a look at the press conference itself, apart from cringe fest that it was. The press conference currently has 4.5 million views. That's not to mention Logan Paul's channel views and the re-uploads that also get more than 1 million views around YouTube. We're talking press conferences only. Now for boxing, it's nothing new to pull these sorts of views. They've done it in the past. But let's compare that to probably the biggest fight of the year, which ironically is also named too. Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua 2. That press conference didn't even hit 1 million views, whether it's the New York press conference or the London one. Now, by no means I'm saying the statistics, the numbers, or the money determines the value of any sports or anything, let alone boxing sports, but for people who are organizing it, for business people who are investing in that, it absolutely does. And that is why Eddie is involved in all of this. He even said himself that the number of views around the world, pay-per-view buys, and 20,000 plus tickets being sold, especially in today's modern boxing era, this is massive. Let's play a quick game. I want you all, casual boxing fans or non-boxing fans or normal people, what was the biggest fight after McGregor versus Mayweather that you've heard or seen commercials about that you genuinely felt something? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm genuinely curious to know what you guys think. But let's get back to the topic. Let's talk about the event itself. We've touched on Billy Joe, who's defending his title. That whole situation sparked a controversy as well. But even he himself saw this as an opportunity, and so do others that are fighting on the undercard. Imagine over 20,000 people, a world champion fighting in front of this big crowd, a pool of new audience that never seen a proper professional boxing match. How amazing this opportunity is to show the real skills in boxing. It's not only good for him, but for the sport itself. That's why everyone is involved in this, the people who are involved in this. But we've talked about Eddie. We've talked about the Billy Joe situation. We've talked about YouTubers, boxing as a sport, but we haven't talked about someone that's really taken all the benefits here. Someone who you can call an underdog in this situation from a business perspective. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, DAZN. Or DAZN. I'm just gonna go for the British pronunciation here. DAZN is a streaming service that mainly focuses on sports and sports live events. I've listened to Logan Paul's podcast where he invited both Eddie and DAZN's EVP, Joe, and he had some really interesting take on all of this. You see, the fact of the matter is, regardless of how much controversy, big or small, how many controversies they're gonna get from the mainstream or from the boxing fans or from YouTube fans, they all know one thing that they all agree on, that this is gonna bring a massive push for everybody's involved in it that they majorly and absolutely need. Sold out Staples Center, millions around the world watching online on DAZN or just Twitch. Shaking my head off on. So it's a big deal for everyone, hence mainstream media is heavy on this fight. But the real question here is, who is really benefiting from all this? Who's really getting all the things around it? I mean, of course, everybody's getting some sort of benefit from all of this in some way, but who's the real going upwards in all the situation? Well, look no further, it's DAZN, the streaming service. DAZN is the real candidate here, who's getting the more benefit. Now, whether you like Jake Paul or not, this guy did a lot, and I mean a lot, in terms of both positives and negatives. Well, okay, more negatives than positive, but you get my point. But let's try to think this from an unbiased way possible. I want you guys to listen to Impulsive Podcast where Eddie, Joe from DAZN, and Jake Paul were all having some really interesting conversation. Mainly that Jake was literally begging Eddie to let him fight on the undercard. However, but take a look at this part from Jake Paul.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So
that's what I want to say though, is why not use the marketing from this first fight? As a promoter, it's your job to build fighters and to build personas and to build narratives so that you get more sales in the future. So why not use the first fight as me on the fight before KSI and Logan, and I then win again, and that's more marketing, more people in the boxing community knowing my name to then sell against for the future, versus like me just coming out of nowhere on the
probably want you to fight a pro.
There's no doubt that Jake Paul has more younger audience than his brother Logan. That's why he uses his influence to either sell tickets to his event, sells merchandise, and make record statistics. And this is why Eddie and Joe are so keen to make this a long-term thing. We all moved on, and in fact very quickly moved on from Deji versus Jake feud. Matter of fact, it's like a history thing now, even though it happens like a couple of years ago. In fact, not even a couple, it's like 1 year, what? 1 year ago, huh? And that is exactly what they fear, both Eddie and Joe. They fear the drop. They want this a long-term thing, having one-time peak and then that's it. Keep in mind, I just want to point this out. Regardless of whether KSI, Logan Paul, or these social media stars fight on their event, on their service or not, DAZN is not gonna die from all this. They still keep pulling in numbers, so this is just to push even more further. They fight or not, it's not gonna kill their service. They're still gonna pull massive numbers, so I'm just saying, I'm just gonna keep this out there. But what I'm trying to say is that a whole bunch of new audience that could potentially tune in, and not just tune in, but subscribe and become a fan of the sports altogether, they could miss out on all this opportunity. So let's analyze this. Which situation is better? Should Jake Paul fight in this event on the undercard, or should he be used as the main drawer, just like Logan Paul and KSI in the next fight or in the next event in the coming months, with the same outline of one big main event of social media stars pulling in new audience and the rest of professional fighter? Well, the answer is, well, let me explain. See, the last time when they sold out the entire thing, the whole event was full of YouTubers going at it. That was the beauty of the event. That is why people tune in to see their favorite YouTubers fight. They didn't care if it was the undercard. They didn't care if it wasn't as massive as people don't think it is. Well, it was massive, spoilers alert. But they just wanted to see their influencer, their favorite YouTubers having that spotlight, and they will give all the support in the world for that. Anyways, this time it's only one fight from YouTube side. The rest are professional fighters. And don't get me wrong, that's amazing. The new people will get to see the actual professional, skillful fighters on the card and the amazing sport of boxing. That's really entertaining to watch. But many fans might just tune in just for the main event because they don't know any other name. Hence, having a couple of familiar faces from YouTube side mashed up with professional fighters in between would be the smartest move. You can have Jake versus Gib, or just Jake versus FouseyTube in between, and then a couple of professional fighters, and then the main event. That way, people might stick around to even watch other professional fighters that they'd never heard of. That way, not only the real boxers are gonna get new audience, but the fighters like Logan Paul and KSI or any other undercard YouTubers can also build their career by not just giving and pleasing their fans from YouTube side, but also they can win hearts of actual boxing fans, and they can make a name for themselves in the coming world. From there, if they want to have a long-term relationship, they can easily plan out events. Jay can start a beef with someone every 4 to 6 months or even a year. Same goes for KSI and others, and that's how you keep the balance of having casual fans, because then these YouTubers will be taking this sport seriously, as well as bringing in new audience every event, but also making a name for themselves in boxing world. The stage is set for years of amazingness to come, for not just mainstream media, for not just sports, but for YouTube as a whole. And please, just a tip, script out whatever you want to say in press conferences or weigh-ins, because god damn it, it's cringy and it's only gonna get worse for us in the mainstream media. Let's take our game to the next level and show the world why we are the new leaders in the entertainment world. Okay, maybe not the leaders, but hopefully you get my point. Anyways, what are your thoughts on KSI vs Logan Paul 2? Who will win? What are your thoughts on Jake Paul? Do you think he should fight or not? Let me know all of that good stuff down in the comments. With that being said, that would wrap up first episode, season premiere of Smack Explains. I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and now that I got the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want, expect some really interesting, disturbing, horror, adventurous things in the future. And make sure to subscribe and become an official member of Smack Empire. I'm Smack, and until next time, take care and peace. Alright, let's do this. I think I got the clues, everything that I need. Who's there? Let me check this. Let me check.
This is so cracked. No.